everyone, so today's reading is going to be a message for you or about you. I'm going to title it A Message About You because that's mostly what I feel. However, the messages that come through will vary. That is a very crazy crow if you heard that. So group number one, you have this teacup. Okay, this is the teacup group. Number two is a jar of teeth. And group number three is a planter of pine cones. So I will put a screen grab on the next little slide, and so you can meditate on it and decide which one calls to you. If none of them call to you, or if multiple call to you, then by all means check them out, or don't click on them if you're just goofing around. I mean, you can if you want, but I'm just saying there is a possibility that none of them are going to resonate with you. So don't force it. Okay, bye. Hi teacup people, I'm over here just deconstructing what's inside this teacup. I don't know what this is. It's very heavy. Is it flint or something? Is flint heavy? And then inside here I have just Native American artifacts. Here, see? And then these are things that I found when I've been walking on the beach. This old seashell, this seashell, and it's reminding me of this fossil that I found, a fossilized shell or sea urchin, and or what are they actually? They're sea biscuits. I think they're called sea biscuits. Anyway, technically I didn't find it. My dog found it in the yard and I took it from her. And then I have like vases around the house, like planter vases, and I fill them with seashells around the plant's base. And I don't do that. I don't do that anymore. I used to, because then she would go in there and take them, and I think she ate that shell because I can't find it anymore. Granted, it was hers originally and I stole it from her, but I digress. That's coming through. We'll kind of get into why I'm seeing all this kind of stuff and why I'm pointing everything out. I have this broken, I don't know if this is citrine or I have no idea what this is, but it's broken. I sat on it. Okay. This little bracelet here, another little stone, some more broken pieces. I don't know if I sat on this one or not. And then just a few others and some more seashells, right? So I get this, and by the way, this teacup is well used. It's been enjoyed. You see the golding The gold lining has been rubbed off of it from the previous owner. And I get this feeling from you of you're being insightful. You're an insightful individual. You're someone who is a go-getter, someone who has, you're ambitious, and with that ambition comes a bit of a busy energy. And what I'm hearing is to include some relaxation, some rest into your life, because when you kind of concentrate on being such a go-getter, then it kind of fosters more of that energy into your life. So if you just add in a little bit more of a playful element, so I can kind of equate it to these kinds of things here, right? It's kind of like this perfectionist mindset, this busy mindset, it's productive, which in truth, I heard this somewhere, and I kind of believe it in some ways. So this might resonate with you, but sometimes perfectionism is masked as, well, I mean, kind of, what's the other word for like laziness? Like basically procrastination is masked as perfectionism. So, I mean, it kind of sort of, I mean, I think it depends on the context for a person. But I do see in some ways that does reflect in your life currently, where there is a bit of procrastination. However, and it is being masked as perfectionism. However, the core of your perfectionism is this desire to do more, or this desire to do right. It's by doing this, and I just broke the bracelet. This is a pile of broken things, evidently. I was trying to put it on. Anyway, oh, because it's so old. So the plastic just broke. Okay, anyway, so that's actually what I was kind of getting into, is moving towards this, right? Like I could have gotten really upset about it. Just like this, I could get really upset about it, but I'm not. And even this, I'm not. I just found another place for it. I found another purpose for it. I actually feel kind of excited. I'm kind of sad or disappointed in a way that it's broken, because it's jeopardizes, well, I don't know, jeopardizes, that's probably understatement of the original integrity of this particular item. However, it evolved into something different, right? So I have the opportunity to make this into something else. I can pile this back into the teacup. I can make my own piece of jewelry, all kinds of different things that can happen through this. So it's taking that ambition and allowing it to propel you forward in a way that doesn't limit you through that perfect mindset. So the more that you allow just a little window of opportunity for you to kind of expand and explore and have more freedom in the things that you're doing, or the way that you're approaching things, allows that energy to foster in the way that you are being productive. Does that make sense? And I do want to say, because that is so representative of this image that I was getting, where a lot of these items, they're secondhand, right? Like this is a secondhand teacup. I don't know who the original owner is. That bracelet is, I don't even know where it's from, but it's secondhand. This was from an auction, not an auction. I mean, it was an auction, like an estate sale, right? But when I hold each particular item, it holds a separate energy for me. And this in particular, I see a boy. I see a young boy. And when I see this young boy in association to your reading, it brings me to different men that I've known in my life that hold a separate but spiritual meaning or connection with, even if it was just a brief encounter, like a brief friendship. And by spiritual, I literally mean like we had like one of them I met at a conference, and we were both, you know, spiritual people or doing this kind of stuff, you know, and I gained a lot of insight from him just by like practicing on him. And so it's these small instances or moments that you encounter with people that stamp a memory into their core being. And I'm hearing that you're a healer. So this is a pile of healers and healing people. And then they're bringing me to a memory, and they're saying this is going to be connected. So they're saying talk this out, and then it's going to be connected. You're healing people, and you're healing and you're helping people who could potentially be in some sort of danger. Because I just saw this image of a house fire, and then I saw an image of a bug, like two separate images. So it's like a bug could potentially be in danger when it comes to like being in someone's house, and someone, you know, takes care of the bug instead of, you know, freeing it. You would free the bug. Or a house fire, it's like you would be someone who helps in saving these people. Or maybe if you had a premonition and then you know, somehow helped in that way. It's this healing energy where you're around people that could potentially be in dangerous situations, and you rescue them before something even happens, before that actually ever could potentially occur. So I have this memory of the first time that I had an awareness of morning dew. I didn't know what that was. I was maybe like 2 years old, and my mom had opened the back door, and she told me not to go outside as she was cleaning the house, and I could hear her running the vacuum. And I went out there anyway, and I saw the ground was wet. I walked to the place that it was wet. I saw a spider web, and it had wet, you know, droplets on it, and a spider. And I was so mystified, and I think that's when I truly fell in love with the sunrise. And I remember thinking for so long, like even when I would go out in the afternoon, I would get disappointed because I wasn't there anymore. And I was thinking, how often is it here? And where does it go? Like it also gave me this awareness of so much that I miss because I was never out in the morning, right? And I didn't know that it would kind of disappear. I wondered like when does it disappear? Where does it go? All of those things. And how often was I missing that? I just remember that so distinctly, and like the way the cool air felt. It was a warm day, but that coolness of that humidity or of the dew felt so relaxing and so good and refreshing. And I see this connected with you in that you have this ability to impart a sweet memory for people. Like you stamp It's like you stamp your place or your role in someone's life as a sweet memory. Like whether or not you stay or not, right? Like the dew there, and there's a mystique about you, something mysterious about you, something that invokes wonderment about you. And it's this, they're showing me how well loved you are, in the sense of your charm, your wit, your beauty, your intelligence, your understanding, your wisdom, the way that you carry yourself, your grace, because they're pointing out all of these different things. And like, this is obviously very old, right? This is very old. But to my eye, it's very beautiful. Like there's something like magical about this. Like I love it so much, right? And they're just showing me how like even me breaking this bracelet, and like as I'm talking to you guys, I don't know if you're hearing it, but they're rolling off my lap and they're making little sounds on the floor, and how I've stamped a memory into these beads, this bracelet, this, you know, plastic wiring. Like I've stamped a memory into this. You know, this was at one point this perfect, seemingly perfect teacup, or it was the way that the artist envisioned it. And through being used so often, it's like the fingerprints have worn this off, the lips have worn this off, right? Even with this, it's like it's so beautiful, right? These little arrowheads, and what are these other ones called? Arrowheads, and I can't think of the name right now, but I'm still not showing this. I need to show you this as well, because it's just sitting here. I want to show you. But there's a message here that your fierceness should not ever be discounted by you. And they're showing me this old lion, like you're a lion or lioness, and no one looks at an elderly lion or lioness and say, they're scraggly, like all these negative things about them, right? It's like, wow, they're fierce. Imagine all of the things that they've seen. You know, they're so powerful to have survived so long, and you know, it starts this like thought process in people where it's like, I wonder what that lion has experienced in its life. And I see an emphasis here with regards to you, that you should continue, or you should begin to perceive yourself as the seashell, as the bracelet, as these little objects. It's like you may be able to interpret yourself as imperfect, or as broken, or different than how you originally came, right? Originally showed up. And yet this is what built you. This is what made you. This is just, it's part of your story, part of your journey, part of what is very beautiful. It's what's creating you and created you. Like you're created in perfection. So how could you ever see yourself as imperfect when it's just a different form? Okay. Pulling cards, because I just feel like this is a natural place for me to do so. Something that needs to be told to you. Ask your angels for helpful people to lighten your load. working too many hours, trying too hard to please others. Take time to take action, great passion for a cause, instinctively knowing what to do. Okay. Everything happens for a reason. Release regret, embrace the opportunities for happiness, search for the silver lining. There's so much to accomplish. Make a very detailed plan. Being watched over by someone kind. I need to emphasize that. Which, look, it's pink. Seek out other possibilities. Look for the magic in life. Be aware of your own emotions. So this has the typical energy, well, I think it's typical, of this older woman and this teacup. That's what I feel for this. And all the history and stories that kind of come alive when I look at this teacup. And I do feel that there's a lot of appreciative people, especially because you are a healer, that have carried on this love and compassion for you as a soul. So whether this is people or animals, insects in this life who feel that way, who embody that towards you, it's lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes of appreciation that's being built up. And there, I'm being shown like your soul and this mound underneath you, and it rising, like you're rising up on this mound. The mound is being risen higher and higher and higher because it's being kind of like clay, you know, and you squish the clay together and it goes up like when it spins. So it's like that. They're squishing it together and rising you up. Okay. And there's, I'm just seeing again, you see how this person has their, it's like the horse collar on them. And I'm seeing how there's a lot of stress with that collar, because it's that perfectionist mindset. There's something here about you needing to go back to where that began. You need to get into a meditative, hypnotic state and tell yourself, ask yourself where that began, where that originally began. Because knowing that and understanding that, which could potentially be from a past life, will be able to set you free creatively. It's a creative block, because when I started thinking, it highlighted this chandelier, this glass chandelier. And with this chandelier, I'm just seeing this story of like how beautiful this is, but then it's like there was a time, let's see, probably like, do you remember it was like I don't know, like 2010 or somewhere, 16, I can't remember when, where everyone had those mirrored bedroom sets. And then this came along too, like all of these like plexiglass, you know, it's not real crystals or anything, all this kind of decor. And it's reminding me again of the dew and how it's timeless. Like you and your style, you're timeless. And so when you get carried away with perfectionism, you get carried away with trends, whether or not you're realizing that or not. Whatever type of trend, however this is somehow applicable to you. There's some trend that when you get caught up in that, it's like get caught up in the rat race of whatever this is, then you lose sight of your timelessness. It always exudes from you. You can't avoid it because it's in your nature. It's who you are. And yet, if you just fully embrace it, you're going to feel a lot more at ease. You're going to feel more in alignment and more true to who you truly are. And there's someone coming through very strongly with this pink. So I don't know if this is like an older woman, like the grandmotherly energy here or motherly energy here. I feel like it's a very soft and sweet energy coming through that is really proud of you and grateful and honored that you took care of them in some way, or you understood them in some way, you helped them in some way, or this could even be an elderly pet. There's a complexity to you that you are taking for granted in some way. It's like no one has really acknowledged this as being admirable or being sexy or being whatever it is, being creative, something. Because the story I'm getting is like this seashell, right? And everyone kind of adoring the seashell because it's large and you don't really find them, right? And yet they're undermining the fact that you can put the seashell to your ear and hear the ocean, right? They don't care about that. They care about the size and how it appears and looks. And so when that, okay, there's something about, this is important. There's something about you that this is either just going to be by, not coincidence. How do I tell you the story that I'm seeing? Okay, like wheat, right? Like bales of hay or whatever. So you know how that was like a currency at one point, like in the United States, right? So they had all of those like essentially banks where they would store all the wheat for people, right? So it's something about you or something that you have that is very valuable, like surface level, like financially somehow valuable, or it's like a skill or something that's valuable that you are not fully seeing the potential of, or is not ready to become profitable, like in this current time, right? So like at one point, like big butts and everything was like a huge thing, which that's like the major, like the Kardashian kind of figure. Now they're changing into being very thin. And so now the public perception is being more drawn to the natural body types and the thinner body types and, less of that. And so it's you coming into your own, you're not coming into your own because that kind of means you're changing or evolving in some way. It's like you accepting yourself, but then it somehow becomes like recognized and potentially very profitable in some way, or propels you into something that will give you opportunities that had prior than sometime had not been there because other people don't really understand the significance of it. And so you discounted yourself because of the fact that there was no community around you that you were aware of that understood this or valued this or would even be able to perceive this. So it's saying don't change for others. Don't use perfectionism to mask procrastination or to mask your true identity. Use that energy to propel you to continuously move forward, and add in some of that lighter energy that's going to, it's kind of like, it brings more focus to that, right? So if you're always busy working very serious, you're essentially going to create more of those circumstances around you, because that's kind of what you're seeking out. And so if you add in, okay, well, while I do it, then kind of being detached from it in some ways of, you know, like being detached from the outcome. So it's like, well, if something happens, if a bracelet breaks, or I sit on a stone and it breaks, you know, it might be a little bit disappointing because I wanted it to be a certain way, but that's all right. Like, let's keep going, right? Let's move forward. And soon enough, it'll make sense. Soon enough, it'll be appreciated. Soon enough, it might even be in style, in vogue in some way. And we'll continuously, it's like you're going to be ahead of the game. You're going to be ahead of it because you've been doing this longer. You've been aware of this longer, and it's who you are. There's something about it being who you are. And why this is coming forward, why you're drawn to this reading and to this pile, I feel I'm seeing all the greens being highlighted here. And they even brought me to this green stone here. I don't know if this is, can you have green jasper? I don't think this is jade. They're saying open your heart. It's like opening the window, right? Like opening the, like, look at this. Like, it's like a green curtain too. It's like open the windows to you, to the possibility. It's like I'm hearing to the possibility of you, and then they're showing me that you are the dew. You're the morning dew to me. You're the morning dew in the sense that my awareness, you know, I don't know prior to that if I had been out in the morning, and I just didn't know what it was. And it's like stamped in my memory that, like, I really think that cultivated a huge part of my personality, that morning dew and that sunrise, to just appreciate the sunrise in a way that, like, I fell in love. I fell in love with the sunrise that day. I fell in love with the morning dew that day. I fell in love with, like, the mystery of this world that day. Just so confused and perplexed as to why and when it disappeared. And how's it come back? Or when's it come back? Like, where does it go? And so when you open the blinds here, you're opening the blinds to yourself and really seeing yourself in a new light. You're seeing this whole side of you that you hadn't known existed. If you always wake up at 10 a.m., you miss the sunrise, you miss the morning dew, and you never know it exists because you're doing something else. Find that something else within you and appreciate that something else with you. Fall in love with that piece of you that you didn't know was there because you kept the blinds closed. You didn't open the door, right? And my mom told me, I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, she told me not to go outside. She was like, don't go outside. I remember that. And I was like, yeah, I'm going, because I wanted to go on the swings. I want to go on the swing set, which I wasn't allowed to. They made me have the little baby ones, which I hated, so I was going to sneak out there and go on my sister's swing, the big girl swing, and that's when I saw it all. So that's what I see for you, pile number 1. I'm sorry, teacup. Teacup and accessories. I don't like the accessories. Teacup and the beauties. I don't know, whatever. Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Hi. Jar of teeth, people. Kind of weird, but okay. So what I get with you guys is, well, first of all, it's a Miracle Whip. It's a little older Miracle Whip jar. And I do see an emphasis on the word miracle. I think you are someone who is very miraculous. Miraculous in the sense that there's something intuitively sharp about you and wise. And the everyday person would feel that what you're able to intuit or understand is miraculous. And the thing with shark teeth is they're very easy to find. Like once you train your mind on what a shark tooth looks like, the easier it is to find them when you're at the beach. And I feel like you've done a lot of extensive training, whether this was purposeful or not, in doing something that a lot of people have trouble doing. They have difficulty doing. The number, it says 10-8A. So I do see there's an importance to that number and also to October. I do feel like you guys are kind of a bit of a spooky pile. It reminds me of, like, I have a bunch of jars, right? With like teeth and everything. And I found a wing one time. It was this iridescent wing. And normally I don't pick up insect or animal like skulls and just like parts of them. And there was something just so, like, it was just drawing me to it, and I put it in a jar. And I was like laughing to myself because I was thinking, you know, I have everything so organized in my house, and how I have like compartmentalized like my jars of like different things, and how I was going to do an empty jar and write jar of body parts, because it had a wing, but I was going to do a separate one and just keep it empty. And I don't know why, I just found that so funny, because I was thinking, like, if something happened to me and then someone like went through all of my stuff and then they found the jar but it didn't have anything in it, and just like, I don't know what they would think, I guess. I don't know what, like, I feel like maybe there's like a sick humor you guys have, or just like the way that people see you, it's like they don't really understand. I don't know, it's like some, like, because it feels like, okay, like if you're a witch, or if you are just like into like a you know, like darker clothing, or, you know, antiques and everything, this would very much be your pile. Or if you're just, but I feel inside of you is very bright, like very bright and shiny. And like that can even be a reflected opposite, where you're very bright and shiny externally, but then people would be surprised that you would be into tarot readings, or you would be into you know, past life memories, or mediumship, right? Like there's something that would be unexpected, or like kind of confusing or perplexing to a lot of people. Okay, what needs to, well, that obviously needs to come through, because that's just what that's the purpose of this reading, is like, what do you sorry, I'm just, that's the purpose of this particular one, is what do you need to know? What the title is going to be is a message about you. But with you, what is about you is you're coming up with some sort of big decision in your life. We have improving health right here. Reconsider. If you believe, compromise. And I saved this one for last because this is the biggest message, which is what I really want to emphasize, which is meditation brings answers. And I'm seeing 6 and 6 and then 6 and 9, which was the time on here for how long I've been recording this pile, this group, the jar of teeth. It brings answers. Look at that, peaceful resolution and compromise. So whatever it is that there's a card down here that's flipped. Oh, it's the reconsider, it flipped over. Whatever it is that you're looking to solve, some big change in your life, your soul family, like your spiritual soul family, are urging you to find a peaceful resolution. With compromise, that means both parties are, or all parties are, content. There's not a losing party. You're both content with the new outcome. And I'm hearing this isn't something that you need to be nervous about. You're going to get what you want out of this. You just have to be more strategic and mindful in the way that you approach it and the way that you think about it. Your guardian angels want you to talk to them. They're saying to pray. So to pray to God, pray to the archangels, and allow that information to come to you. Like pray. Pray for that wisdom, or pray for that divine inspiration. Pray for that divine, I'm hearing like record keeping of information that will help you to find a peaceful resolution that will improve this situation. And if you believe in improving health here is whether or not you believe that there's a solution for this, a way to improve in this, doesn't really matter, because there is a solution. You just have to maintain hope and prayer that those answers will be clear to you so that you can take that right action for that or towards that. And I'm hearing the word global connection. So whether this is something to do with the internet, whether this is something to do with finding other people around the world or in a particular expertise that can give you more insight, just pray that that lead will come to you so that you'll know who or when it is appropriate to reach out to someone and get that answer, and to slow down with this. You don't have to make a decision now. Like, be patient and wait a little bit so that you can really get in the right frame of mind, so that you get the most truthful and accurate information possible from source, from God. The answer here is no. And then the next one that came out is yes. And it's 11:11 when I looked up. Okay, and then I'm also seeing romance a year from now. So this particular pile, and I'm seeing 11:22. So this particular pile I feel is more like, I'm gonna stop here because I just feel like this is where, like, you're getting the answers in this reading. Like, it's enough. That's what I'm saying. It's enough. So that's what I see for you. Freaky pile number 2. You're not pile, freaky jar, miracle jar of teeth. I'll talk to you guys later. All right, bye. Hello. Planter full of pine cones, people. So what I get with you is, first of all, you're a very earthy pile. I feel when I have this, I don't know if this is it's Japanese, this Japanese planter, and I feel very calm when I have this. And even these pine cones, I was at a park, and I don't know, I saw these little baby pine cones and I thought they were so cute, so I collected them. And I feel like at your core, that's who you are. You're very calm, or you have a very calming presence, but there's a lot of activity I feel that's surrounding you. I don't know if this is like this anxious kind of more surface level feeling, like it's, I don't know how to explain it other than like how you're presenting yourself, or how you're feeling like on a more shallow level is very anxious or persistent. Like it's almost like this feeling like you're attached to an outcome, or you're attached to a certain result, and you're hyper focused on that particular thing, right? You're just clinging on to an idea or a goal or a person, something like that. But then at your core, who you really are is this calming presence and accepting of change. In truth, you're very accepting of change. And there's a feeling like you actually want something to change, or you anticipate change. There's something about change that's happening here. But then you're rigid in like the goal, or you're rigid in that result, something like that. And so you have to get back to your core. You have to get back to your core and see how the universe is at play in this, how God is at play in this, and that no matter your desire or attention that you put towards this, you aren't, and things aren't stronger than God, or like they're not stronger than your overall like destined path. It's okay. It's good to be ambitious. It's good to be aware, but there can be a point of it to your detriment. Like, you see what I'm saying? I'm having a hard time talking during your pile. But anyway, okay, so we have decision here. It says, release yourself from that which holds you back, a need to detox unnecessary worry based on a lack of self-confidence. Yeah, and then there's this cage and she's letting all these birds out. And I feel that's kind of reminding me of this jar and the pine cones, like releasing the pine cones, allowing these pine cones, because I think the pine cone's actually the seed, right? Or am I wrong? Maybe this is more like the fruit. Wait. Is it? I don't know. Anyway, it's this feeling of like you can let go. You don't have to overly concern yourself like if those doves are going to return. It's okay. And I'm seeing there's a cityscape behind her. And all the stresses, it's like you spent all this effort, all this time to make this beautiful garden, this clearing out here for them. And you're thinking, what if they go to the cityscape? And all the things that can happen there, and all the things that can happen when they're released. And it's not going to change the outcome. They're going to do what they want to do. Let them fly the nest, let them fly the cage, and you will see it's like the right thing will stick, the right one will stay, the right solution will be there for you. You just have to let go and let God in this situation. You can still work towards it, but you don't have to kind of, like it's like helicopter parent. Like you don't have to observe everything, look at everything. Like some things are just, it's a waste of energy. It's a waste of time. So what can you do about this that is productive, right? It's like, well, I can't control where they're going to go, but I can maintain this garden so they have somewhere safe to be. I can keep this place in working order, have this cage, right? And if they want to return, then they have somewhere to return. The rest is up to their free will. It's up to their decision, right? We have material needs get fulfilled in magical and unexpected ways. Acts of kindness, giving or receiving with a grateful heart. Okay. I'm not going to read all of these out because I don't think we need to. One that I do, or two of them that I do, is wisdom and objectivity are important right now. Stay in your integrity. A situation that calls for honest and open communication. And I think this is honest and open communication mostly, if not entirely, with yourself. And it's really about staying within your integrity of if you are overseeing something to the point that it could be holding you back or overstepping a boundary that you objectively would not be comfortable with, but because you're so untrusting or focused on this situation, then be honest with yourself so that you will set those boundaries and step back so that things can function in a more clean way, clean as far as karmically clean or mentally clean way. Love and blessings fill your life. Harmonious relationships with family members, happily ever after. So there's a lot of good news coming in for you, right? Your material needs, your emotional needs, your family needs, they're all getting fulfilled here. And so what your guardian angels are saying they're saying about you is, we know who you are at your core. We know you're this Zen person, this calming person that It feels like you're someone who you have very good intentions and you won't back down from something that you feel is right. And so where in your life are you potentially compromising that because of something that you want to happen? Where are you giving yourself a free pass on doing something that originally you may not have felt was right to do, and yet you're doing it now? And allow yourself to see essentially that you are like you're in God's perfect image, right? And your story, your life, your circumstances are all part of a greater plan. And so in walking with faith, you are walking with that ultimate trust and understanding that things will happen according to plan. And they're going to happen whether you intervene or not. Like, you can't, I mean, not to get too technical, but in your situation, you can't change like someone's opinion or someone's free will, right? You can't change their story. So just kind of allow the chips to fall where they may. You're going to, it feels like it feels like this. There's somewhere in your life where it's coming from a place of lack, right? And that's repeated here in this card. A need to detox, unnecessary worry based on a lack of self-confidence. It's a lack of something. But what you need to see is that perception of lack is actually the growth of something to come. It's like, like patience. So like, let's say that you have like a persimmon tree, right? And you plant it, and every year you have 2 persimmon trees. This is the story. You have 2 persimmon trees, okay? One persimmon tree you plant and you let it grow, and it grows these persimmons on it that first year. The other persimmon tree, you're letting it grow several years, and you're cutting off the buds on them so they don't grow fruit. That first persimmon tree is going to grow weak, right? Those several years, it's going to be weak, potentially diseased, because it's a baby tree already performing, because there's that impatience of wanting that fruit. When you invoke the patience and you allow that tree to grow, you may perceive it as, I don't have any persimmons, I don't have any. But when you compare them at the 5-year mark, that patience that you had on the tree that you were picking the buds off is going to have really strong branches. It's going to be a very large tree, and it's going to have tons and tons and tons of persimmons. That other one is going to be smaller, weaker, if it survived, and it's only going to have a few fruit. And so they're showing you that you are, in your life or in this situation, the stronger persimmon tree. And what you perceive as not having or not attaining right now is really the unseen growth and potential in you that is going to one day surprise you. It's going to surprise you. So whatever goal this is, whatever it is that you're hyper focused on, that time is still passing anyway, right? Your life is still going on, whether or not you pay attention or focus all your unnecessary energy on it. It's unnecessary energy. And so have confidence and faith that you are the strong persimmon tree. And one day it's going to be an overabundance, and it's going to surprise you, and it's going to shock you, and you're not going to know what to do with yourself at that point because it's going to be all of your needs being met in magical, unexpected ways. And it love and blessings fill your life. Happily ever after. Happily ever after is it. Happily ever after is not like, you know, problems here and there, all these all these things, you know, going on with that. That's not happily ever after. This is perfection. Obviously, you know, there's the practical aspect of things with regards to that, but you know, it's kind of like when you think about love, or you know, whether this is romantic or love for a child, it's like, you know, you wouldn't have it any other way. You couldn't imagine it any other way. Or love for pets, like I don't know what life was like before them anymore. Like, this is it. This is love. So that's what I'm hearing, is just go for it. Just go for it. Whatever it is, just go for it. So it's this release. I'm getting release. So if this is you and you need to like release someone, right? You need to release someone, or you need to see, it's this refusal of not letting go of something. There's that bird again, wanting to be released. You just have to let it go. And so if it's a person, if it's you controlling your feelings towards a person, if it's you wanting to do something and, you know, not releasing it, not doing it, you having a desire to, express yourself in a new way, whatever it is, this has to get out of you. We have family tree. So again, it's look at this, and this big tree. You know how long that took? This is probably at least 300 years old oak tree right there. It's a very old tree. It takes time. It takes time. Give yourself that chance. Give yourself a chance, and look at all the flowers underneath it. That takes time. It will come. And we have teacher, learning, a new path, joy, blessings, intuition. That's what I'm saying. Like, you have to listen. You have to listen to your intuition on this that you're resisting, which is on some level you're aware that you need to give it up to God. On some level you know that you need to release something, and however this is relevant for you, right? And that's the key, right? That's that learning a new path. That's you learning that you can let something go, and it's not going to be the end of it. It's actually going to allow those blessings to flow into your life, because you're keeping yourself held to something that isn't meant to be held onto right now. Am I making sense? It's going to give birth to something that you need and you want. Mental clarity reversed. It's reversed. So you're not wanting to do it. You're not wanting to. But we can relate that back to that feeling of, it's like a pet. We'll use a pet for example. It's like, I love to travel. I love to do things on my own. I don't want to get a pet. I don't want one. And yet something inside of you is calling you to buy a pet, you know, or adopt a pet. And you resist. And yet when you finally go adopt a pet, or a pet shows up at your door and you take it in, and you make sure that it's not a runaway, see if they're chipped, and you put out flyers first, then you can't imagine life without that pet anymore. You fall in love with this pet. You're hanging on to something, you know, it's like a past situation, past the way that you know, energy or patterns that you're wanting truly to change in some way. So stop looking at, or stop observing it, making sure that the water's warm. I just did a video where it's like, jump in, the water's warm. It's kind of like, that's kind of, if you go back to that reading, it's kind of that same energy where it's like, you're changing, and allow yourself to change. You don't have to micromanage it. You don't have to make sure everything's safe. Just go ahead and allow faith to fill that in. And I mean, this was reversed. Higher self, sacred intuition, your eternal spirit. You're ignoring it. You hear it, you see it, you feel it, but you're ignoring it. So just allow allow the truth, the positive truth of what's to come and who you are and what you're worth to flow into your being, into your thoughts. Be aware of your thoughts and create a positive message, right? Like, brainwash yourself into faith. Like, anytime you catch yourself, and be aware of your thoughts, and anytime you catch yourself trying to, you know, micromanage something or whatever it is, to say, I believe in myself. I believe in my journey. I give it up to God. I give it up to spirit. And I can be calm in the situation. I don't need to over-identify myself with what it is that I feel concerned about, because there's nothing to be concerned about. Like, I can let it go. I believe that whatever happens is for my highest good, right? And I'm hearing make a wish. Make a wish and then let it go. Make that wish and then release it. So that's what I see, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.